On the night of 2nd August last year, the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives proudly landed in Taiwan. Despite U.S. military officials warning her not to visit the disputed island right now, Nancy Pelosi stood by Taiwan as a clear warning to China, taunting Chinese President Xi Jinping that the U.S. will defend Taiwan and China cannot do anything about it. In Pelosi's naive act of showing off U.S. strength, she annoyed Red Dragon in the deepest manner possible, leaving Taiwan in front of the most dangerous attacks ever witnessed from China.
Less than subtle messaging in this military video released ahead of the U.S. Speaker's visit.
Within the next few days, aggressive China surrounded Taiwan from every angle.
Turning to Asia, China launched a new round of military exercises overnight.
Exercises taking aim at pro-independence forces in Taiwan.
Conducting drills just inches away from the territorial waters of the island country. Some of these missiles flew over Taiwan, while some of them landed near the Yaeyama Islands of Japan, forcing Taiwan to take immediate action by using all its military strength. But China was not ready to back down. It even displayed the strength of its army and this simulation attack that shows exactly how it will attack Taiwan. Now, this leads to a lot of trust issues between the U.S. and Taiwan, because despite Pelosi's visiting and promising Taiwan that it has complete support from the U.S., they took no action against China. On 6th August, the U.S., Australia, and Japan simply issued a joint statement accusing China of intentionally creating tensions between the countries and destabilizing the South China Sea region. And it was not until 10th of August that the Eastern Theater Command of China voluntarily decided not to invade Taiwan. They were witnessed retreating without bending to any pressure from external forces, a perfect way to show the world who is the boss of Taiwan. Although Chinese media later declared that they had successfully conducted military drills near Taiwan, if you compare this with the period when Russia attacked Ukraine, there seems to be no difference between the two. Months before attacking Ukraine, thousands of Russian troops surrounded Ukraine's borders. Despite the world leaders raising the alarm about the invasion,
our analysts indicate that they remain very much in a threatening position. An invasion remains distinctly possible.
Russian officials constantly denied such claims and called it a regular military exercise.
The Russian defense minister reported today that some military units are leaving their positions near Ukraine. That would be good, but we have not yet verified that.
But on 24th February at 5 a.m., Putin declared war on Ukraine.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
So what stopped China from invading Taiwan? Would you believe me if I told you that China would invade Taiwan in 2027? In February this year, CIA Director William Burns received secret intel he could not believe. When he reconfirmed the intel, he was astonished to know that China's President Xi Jinping has ordered its military to be ready to invade Taiwan by 2027. But the U.S. Chief of Naval Operations is claiming that this invasion will happen in 2024. Now, this makes it clear that China will attempt to take over Taiwan, and as its recent actions are speaking more than what we could imagine. The question is, what will happen after the invasion? So after conducting its enormous military drill last year, China showed off the first step of invasion, and that was through its enormous army of drones. Have a look at this Chinese drone standing right in front of the Taiwan soldiers, a perfect way to keep a close eye on the movements of its opponents without resulting in any casualty. Unlike other countries that shoot down enemy drones before they reach closer, it is surprising to notice how the Taiwan military responded to this infiltration from China. Here is another astonishing footage where Taiwan soldiers were witnessed throwing stones to deter such drones. It was only after this humiliation Taiwan signed a $657 million with its Defense Department to supply them with these drone-jamming guns. But Chinese Communist Party does not seem to be moved an inch by this, because China-based company DJI is the biggest manufacturer of drones in the world, and deadly Chinese drones like TB001 was frequently witnessed near the Taiwan region. With a 300 km/h speed, these drones have the capacity to carry and deploy a 250 kg laser-guided bomb AR-4 air-to-surface missile, and a lot more than we can imagine. Now, I am not against Taiwan, but I want to show the result that could arise from a war between these two countries. If we look at their military strength, the number of active soldiers on the Taiwan side are 94,000, and in China they are 965,000. That's more than 10 times the amount in Taiwan. Moreover, Taiwan is facing constant crises in recruiting more men for the army. One of the main reasons for this issue is the lower birth rate in this country. Since 2017, the population of people above 18 years of age has decreased from 138,000 to 118,000. As above 18 individuals are most fit to support the army, a lower birth rate is causing excessive pressure on defend themselves. Moving on to other forms of defense, China's Navy personnel stands at around 260,000, whereas in Taiwan it stands at around 40,000. In terms of Air Force personnel, China has 395,000 men, and Taiwan has 35,000 men. However, Taiwan has made a smart move in terms of maintaining its reserve personnel, because Taiwan has 1,657,000 men at the reserve, and China has around 510,000. This means that Taiwan could deploy its critical second line of defense when the situation requires it. Capable of handling all types of military work, these men can support their Navy, Air Force, and ground forces during emergencies, giving the island country a massive edge over its opponent. But what about weapons infrastructure? Can Taiwan hold back China until it receives support from other countries? Well, if you look at the capacity of their tanks, then China has 4,800 tanks, whereas Taiwan has 650 tanks. If we talk about the number of aircraft and fighter jets, then China has 3,348 aircraft and Taiwan 691. Moreover, China is the only country in Asia to possess J-20 fighter jets. Not only do these jets have the capacity to hide from enemy radar, but they also have the power to attack from a distance no one can see. The Red Dragon is also leading in terms of maintaining 450 specialized bombers aircraft, and Taiwan is yet to acquire one of its own. The situation becomes more haunting when we compare them with their naval warfare. Specifically speaking, China has 777 naval ships and Taiwan has 117. Out of this, China has 41 naval destroyers and 9 nuclear assault submarines, whereas Taiwan has 4 naval destroyers and is still to acquire a nuclear submarine of its own. It only has 2 torpedo-firing submarines that were gifted to it by the U.S. in 1973. So, keeping in mind all these factors, we are now clear that Taiwan is obviously standing in a weaker position against China. But it's not that Taiwan will lose the battle on the very first day. In fact, there is a high possibility that they might actually win this war, because Ukraine is one of the biggest examples for China. Just like Ukraine's president holding his entire army together, the same way Taiwan's president can already see how its citizens are ready to do anything to protect their freedom. For centuries, this native black bear has been a symbol of Taiwanese identity. As this species has now become vulnerable, Taiwanese citizens are using this new symbol to express their stand against China, showing a black bear holding a gun in his hands. In one of these handbooks with the same symbol, it said, "We can be left without money, without gas, without hot water, without light, but not without freedom. We will overcome everything, endure, survive, prevail." Look at how civilians practice shooting as if the war has already begun. This is a clear sign that China is going to attack Taiwan, and the situation in Ukraine is helping them to prepare in a smarter way.
Now Russia has already invaded Ukraine, and now Taiwan, no matter what level, government level or civilian level, we have to learn from their lesson, from their experience, and we can prepare ourselves when China one day really invade Taiwan.
Even women citizens and teachers are showing courage to stand for their country. A 40-year-old housewife named Lai said, "If war happened, I would be at the back. I participated in this class to learn what I could do to help others." When Russia invaded Ukraine, powerful countries imposed damaging economic sanctions on Russia.
Just in 1 year, our sanctions are likely to wipe out the last 15 years of Russia's economic gains.
In the same way, China could be facing economic sanctions to crumble its power. For example, in 2022, the U.S. imported around $536 billion worth of goods from China. As Chinese-made toys and mobile phones are popular in America, this gives China an enormous advantage in building its economic strength. So if the U.S. stops importing all these products, you can imagine how much annoyed Xi Jinping will be. Not to forget, as per the Taiwan Relations Act signed between the U.S. and Taiwan, the U.S. has the responsibility to support Taiwan's sovereignty at any cost. In April this year, a U.S. warship came in support of the island nation after China conducted another scary drill near their territorial waters. The act also requires the U.S. to supply sufficient weapons to defend Taiwan from any country, which the U.S. has been complying with all this time, sometimes in the form of deadly Predator drones, and sometimes in the form of this anti-tank mining monster. However, the act also says that the U.S. does not guarantee it will stand with Taiwan against China's attack, and its decisions to support Taiwan will depend on the U.S. Congress and the elected president, which was already witnessed after Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan. Despite all the economic sanctions and the casualties, China will suffer from attacking Taiwan. China's economy will quickly recover because of one big reason, and that reason is Taiwan's dominance over semiconductor chips. As small as they look, these tiny chips are responsible for maintaining the temperature of our smartphones, thus ensure if they overheat during charging, then it does not explode. And Taiwan-based companies like TSMC and UMC are responsible for 65% supply of these chips worldwide, whereas China has only 5% share. So even if Western countries apply sanctions on China, it will rise its dominance by supplying these chips to Russia, North Korea, Turkey, Egypt, and other countries that support them. So, what are your views about China attacking Taiwan? Do you think China will attack in 2024? Tell us in the comments section below. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the like button if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching.